Hello and welcome to today's video where someone calls on a calling center and demands to speak to an American. The next story is from the Reddit user My Nuts Are Musical. Builders dump stuff in front of my office door. Builder's lunch now paints the walls. I work alone in a small office in a public building that is undergoing some renovations while it's closed to the public. There is an office space in front of my office that is usually unoccupied. Think of an office space with a manager's office attached at the end. I just rent the manager's office. Building managers were supposed to notify us if they ever intended to rent out the space in front of my office so we could build a temporary wall or something so I didn't need to walk through someone else's office to get to mine. But I guess they thought they didn't need to do this because the builders are only there temporarily. So now the space is occupied by the side office for construction. I'm slightly annoyed at the building management for not notifying me of this, but I'm way more annoyed at the builders because the space has turned into a dumping ground. To get to my office I have to walk past light fixtures, tool bags, random chairs in the walkway, and a toilet bowl, and I have to listen to builders talking shit while 12 of them sit in a room fit for 5 having lunch. It's like a teenager's bedroom, but instead of clothes and stale socks the floor is covered in building materials and tools. I ask them to keep it clear as it's the walkway to my office and not a storeroom, and they say sure but basically roll their eyes at me and do nothing. So I took some pictures of the mess and reported it to building management, and 1 week later they tidied up slightly, and gave me a sassy "Aw, we cleaned up a bit around here for you mate, no need to thank us" as I walked in that morning. A few later and it was almost worse than it was before, to the point I couldn't leave my office without moving 4 boxes of supplies out from directly in front of the door yesterday. I also hear them whispering about how I'm such a C and a stuck-up public servant. I'm private sector. But whatever. Cut to today, I go to step out to get a coffee and before I open the door I look through the window of the door to see someone's half-eaten spaghetti sitting on the floor right in front of the doorway. I lose my composure for a moment and say F it, open the door and trip on the bowl of spaghetti, causing it to spray all over the room and the 2 builders in the room. Spaghetti gets on everything. Sauce on their computers, noodles in the bloody toilet bowl, it's in the carpet and most impressively all over the builders. They start to shout at me but I get just as mad saying who the hell puts a bowl of spaghetti on the floor in front of a door. I kind of snapped at this point and started lambasting them, which is very out of character for me. I told them this is an office not a storeroom and you're worse than my teenage nephew and told them to clean their shit up or else start kicking everything aside that's in the path, delicate or not. They sheepishly say yes and I go get my coffee. When I return no one is in the office and the mess is still on everything. I think they wiped the laptops down. But I don't care at this point and retreat into my office and focus on work. Fast forward a few hours and I get an email from the building management. I crack a huge smile as I read an email basically saying the builders reported your conduct and had us come inspect the damage. However, we noticed the unacceptable amounts of mess in the office space had not been cleared up from the last time we asked them to, and they admitted the food was placed on the floor in front of the doorway, so we expect them to clean up the mess, pay for cleaning and place no blame on you in this case. If the mess comes back call us directly, as they are on their last warning from a few other incidents in the building. It was a longer and more official email, but you get the point. So now I'm occasionally looking through the window on the door while builders crawl around on their hands and knees scrubbing spaghetti out of the carpet. I'm not proud of losing my cool and handling things the way I did, but I won't deny that it worked, and it felt really good. The next story is from the Reddit user Pettyrevenge. Give me the silent treatment for something out of my control? I'll ruin your birthday and make you question your manhood. My ex-boss was not a good person. He was controlling, egotistical, quick to anger, a womanizer and hated depending on anyone, because that would mean he isn't in control. Boss ran a sports program, which grew from 600 to 1,000 over my time working there, and had hired me to run the office and head the children's programs due to my experience working with larger programs in the same sport. Children make up about 80% of the program. Boss thought he was too good to mix with most of his clients or their families. He mixed mainly with the adults, particularly the attractive female ones, and never answered to phone or general emails. So pretty much everyone knew contact Pepper for anything. So one day an email gets sent directly to him addressed to Pepper and Boss. He didn't talk to me for the rest of the day. I tried to talk to him, email him and get answers I needed for his business and he was ignoring me. I thought I was going mad as he had never done this before, and I'm fairly soft-spoken at work. Did he just not hear me while I was 5 feet away? The next day I asked him a question and he responded with, "Don't you know? I mean you're so important that people address emails to you first." I was fuming. Like you were seriously willing to jeopardize your business and clients because of a literal nothing, treating me like crap, all because your ego can't handle it? No. Not going to let that stand. One last thing. Boss is turning 50 soon. I was 26-27 at the time and he had vaguely come on to me before, gross, but it never went anywhere. I knew he was feeling insecure about getting older and was questioning, was he still a man, still strong and virile, would he still have it for the ladies? I knew what had to be done. We are talking and I mention I know his birthday is coming up soon. How old would he be? 50. Wow, a milestone. My mum turned 50 a few years ago and it was quite an affair. Then I dropped this. The devastator. You're only a few years younger than her. Huh, I guess that means you're old enough to be my father. He immediately clammed up. He didn't speak to me for the rest of the day and didn't come in for the next two. Checkmate. This was almost 5-7 years ago. I've found the best way to ask innocent questions or act like you're observing out loud without malice, when actually that's what you're doing. Down in the comments below, another Reddit user had the best idea to make OP's boss more insecure about his age. The idea was to give him a cake with only one candle and say, we tried to get you 50 candles, but that many just didn't fit, not to mention the fire hazard. However, one is easier to blow out, so make your wish. The next story is from the Reddit user Alfalfa Floozy. Lady demands to speak to an American. Never says what language she wants. Some background: I'm an American that was born and raised in the South. It's an obvious dialect. Also, English is a second language for most people here. Language barriers are not uncommon. All of this comes into the revenge. Years ago, I worked in a call center. It was a large company with English and Spanish departments. I worked in the English department, but sat next to our Spanish department. I handled billing. No one calls billing in a good mood, but in general they're angry with the company, not the rep. You calm them down, fix the issue, and you're off to the next call. Few customers are memorable, but this one I will never forget and I still laugh. This call happened on a busy day with long wait times. This just made the revenge sweeter. The call went like this. Me, thank you for calling blah blah blah. Lady, I want an American on the phone. What? I said I want an American on the phone. Ma'am, I'm an American. I want an American on the phone. At this point, I can only assume I'm not speaking the right language. Un momento por favor. I put her on hold, transfer her over to the Spanish line, and just giggled to myself. But it didn't end there. The lines were starting to calm down and I was chatting with one of the Spanish reps when his desk mate pops up and says she's got a psycho on the phone. It was the woman I had transferred. She was going ballistic. The Spanish rep had her on mute while talking to us. I apologized and told her what happened. She started laughing. Then looks right at me and said I'm gonna put her back in the Spanish queue. The Spanish department had a blast laughing at this crazy bee as they kept putting her back in the queue. I don't know if she ever got her issue fixed. Then again, we never found out what the issue was either. She was too busy yelling at everyone. Moral of the story: be nice to phone reps. The next story is from the Reddit user Yam Slammin. Gave guy hickey mid-makeout after realizing he was cheating with me. This happened years ago as a high school freshman, but I've always been kind of proud of how I handled this situation. Background: I was friends with guy in a large middle school friend group of neighborhood kids that would play manhunt and hang out often. This disbanded as everyone got older and moved, could drive, etc. I always had a crush on him, but he was a bit older and never seemed to see me that way. But we were good friends. Fast forward to high school and I hadn't seen guy in a year or two and was surprised he was in one of my classes as a freshman. He had failed that class twice, and was having a tough time. We sat together and talked and ended up hanging out outside of school. I still liked him, but he had a girlfriend, so I kept my feelings in. He confessed to me that they were having issues and he needed to break up with her, but it'd be super hard on the both of them. I was surprised because I thought they were really solid. He always wore a bracelet with her name on it. We continued to hang out often and he kissed me, all while reassuring me he was going to leave her. It was just complicated, which led to making out hangouts. This happened 2 to 3 times before I noticed he was still wearing the bracelet with her name on it. I stopped mid-makeout and asked if they were on such bad terms why he was still wearing that bracelet. He got annoyed and gave me a short and not convincing answer. It all hit me in the 16-year-old brain at once. This guy was using me to cheat and had no intentions of breaking up with this girl. He tried to go back to kissing, but I moved to his neck and just suctioned right to it. He pushed me away and exclaimed about hickeys. He immediately left, muttering about covering it with makeup. They broke up shortly thereafter. I know his girlfriend thought I was a terrible person for cheating with this guy, but he honestly had me convinced. I honestly feel like I did her a favor. Physical evidence of cheating right before her eyes. Edit: yeah, I guess I was 15 as a freshman, not 16. Started late. Good job OP, he got what he deserved. The poor girl managed to get out thanks to that hickey. Thanks for watching today's video. If you liked the video you watched, you can subscribe to my channel and like the video for more Reddit videos.